if you're on the web, you are guaranteed to run into malicious actors. All the more so if you have a publicly facing server. Try it out right now. Spin up a VPS, leave it running for maybe a day or so, come back to it, and see just how many login attempts there are. Even if nothing is happening on the server, just the fact that a server exists with a public IP address means it is constantly being attacked. This happens to projects that are really small and projects like Blender, which are really big. But just a few days ago, someone decided to do a little bit more than just a login attempt. Someone launched a DDoS attack. Yes, when I say Blender, I'm talking about that Blender, the FOSS 3D modeling project, which, whilst not being the de facto standard in the 3D modeling industry, is absolutely an important tool and has been used on some of the biggest projects out there. And when we look at things like the indie game development space and the hobbyist space, it's pretty much the only thing that matters. So, the attack occurred between the 18th and the 22nd of November, and for anyone who might be unsure, a DDoS is a distributed denial of service attack. This isn't exploiting an issue in Blender's servers, some bug in the software they're running. Literally all it is doing is flooding the server with lots and lots and lots of traffic, and the distributed part means it is coming from many different clients at once. Typically, this isn't a lot of users doing the attack, it's usually done through some form of botnet. And eventually the server just gets way too overwhelmed, it has no idea what to do with all the requests, it dies and says,
I'm die. Thank you, whoever.
What? To be specific, 1.5 billion requests, peaking at 100,000 per second. Now, if Blender was running something like a search engine, that wouldn't be that big of a deal. If we look at something like Google, that would be a really slow day, and they wouldn't even notice a difference. But this is Blender. Blender has a documentation website, they have a forum, they have a download link, and, this is not set up for that kind of traffic. Under no circumstances were they expecting this kind of traffic. As such, they didn't exactly have mitigation strategies in place. The way they initially planned to mitigate this, this is how basic it was. They were blocking the IP ranges of the attacking clients, which works very temporarily, because nowadays there's a lot of easy access to VPNs and cheap virtual servers, so virtually changing the region that the traffic is coming from is a really easy task to do. So that's what they did, and the attack just kept happening. This was on the 18th of November. However, at that point, everything was still technically functioning. To the users, it might have been a little bit slow to access the site, but you could access it. They were very much walking along a tightrope and could fall off at any moment. Then the 19th came, and the attack had intensified, with some intermittent site interruption, but still for the most part, it was functioning. But only barely. The 20th is where things got really, really bad, with a bunch of services just completely dying. The forum didn't work, the wiki didn't work, and I'm pretty sure for a period, the main website couldn't be accessed either. And by this time, there was absolutely no reason to even try to block IP ranges. As they blocked them, they just jumped to another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, quicker than anything could be done about them. And then on the 21st, the attack reached its full scale. By this point, basically everything was dead. You couldn't access anything whatsoever, and it didn't seem like the problem was going to get any better, so the decision was made to completely shut down Blender.org and all of the affected services because something more had to be done. Along with this, an update was released by Francesco Citti, the Chief Operating Officer of Blender. This is the first of two updates, Blender DDoS Status Update. Since last Saturday, 18 November, the Blender.org servers are under a DDoS attack, bringing down our servers by overloading them with requests. The administrators have been working on it non-stop. Attempts to block IP ranges from attackers did not work, as they quickly came back from other locations. Moreover, in the short periods they don't attack Blender.org, pending logs of regular requests overload the servers again, sending the infrastructure into a loop of self-destruction. After 4 days of fending off the attacks, the team decided to move the core of our website to a secure service that provides DDoS protection, such as Cloudflare. This means that Blender.org is back. I don't know why they said such as Cloudflare, because they are specifically using Cloudflare. We will keep you informed about the status of this unfortunate situation. To put it in simple terms, Cloudflare basically acts like a bouncer in front of your website. It's there to check everybody that wants to come in. And if someone looks like real traffic, okay, let them through, they're allowed on the site. But if they look like a bot, if they don't look like someone who is supposed to be here, go away, don't even bother sending the requests to the website. Now, this does sometimes mean there are occasionally going to be false positives, especially for users that like block JavaScript, have ad blocking enabled, other things like this. But for the most part, it works just fine. And especially in instances like this, it is a lot better than the alternative of nothing working. But a fun thing about Cloudflare is you get lots of graphs and data showing you what's going on with the traffic on your website. For example, this one. This shows the traffic that has been mitigated. The blue line here, you know, the line that looks basically flat except for these tiny little blips, this is the real traffic. Now, sometimes there is going to be false negatives, and that's probably why there is a blip right at the start of the attack here, because they hadn't really noticed it was an attack yet. The pink line, this is the mitigated traffic. This is the traffic that is being instantly stopped. Over just a span of 4.5 hours, 236 million mitigated requests. And nobody's really sure why, but a bit after this, the attack died down and they were given a bit of breathing room. They got all of the infrastructure back online and it seemed like everything would be fine. And then the attack started again at about 8:30 or so on the 22nd. But Cloudflare is here now, so pay them money and it basically becomes their problem. This attack eventually died down as well after a total of 2.1 billion requests were mitigated. After everything was said and done, the Chief Operating Officer released this final blog post, Cyber Attack November 2023, which along with including the original announcement, also includes a timeline of the events, which is what most of this video was based on. But there is one additional thing in here I want to show you. Responsibility for the attack has not been claimed, and motives are unknown. The attack was focused on denial of service. Project and user data have not been affected, but this part is the most important part. So I'm left asking the exact same question as everybody else. Who in the world is DDoSing Blender, a FOSS 3D modeling project? It's not like it's a FOSS project that is, you know, politically active and maybe they just don't like the politics of the project. It's a tool that exists to make donuts. Why are you DDoSing it? It's not like this was just some small attack that didn't really matter. You know, you go after a $5 VPS, you shut it down for an hour. Wow, what a crazy hacker. No, this was multiple days, multiple billions of requests. This would have taken a lot of time and a lot of money to do. So what in the world is the motive? We can theory craft various different things like, Blender now has stable diffusion support, so maybe there are some artist out there who really doesn't like AI, who's like, no, I'm gonna shut down the Blender project to show them that AI's bad. Maybe it's a salty competitor, which I really doubt would happen because that's a legal nightmare. People are going to jail. But if it is what happened, that would be really, really funny, and I kinda hope someone takes the blame for it. Or maybe someone thought Blender was just too buggy and just wanted to show them a lesson. Blender's bad, so you guys don't get to be around. Or maybe they got some negative feedback on the forums and, went a little bit off the rails and decided to launch a DDoS attack. All of that sounds crazy, but I guess it's possible. The problem is nobody has claimed responsibility for the attack. So it could just be someone who is like, oh, I have a botnet. I want to make sure it works in a real world condition. Oh, Blender's a thing that exists. Let's go and attack Blender. Like, that's just as possible. I don't know. And I kind of hope that someone, even if they didn't do it, just claims responsibility just so there is something fun to talk about. But I'm really glad it's over. And let's hope this does not become a trend. And I'm not encouraging anyone to DDoS someone, but there are plenty of things outside of the FOSS space that you could go and DDoS instead. Please keep it over there, whether it's, going after game servers or something. Let's not do this with FOSS projects. So let me know down below. Do you make use of Blender? Have you done the donut tutorial? I would love to know. And if you like the video, go like the video. And if you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out Patreon, subscribe to the Pay linked in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and I never finished the tutorial.